Welcome to Building a Legacy podcast, powered by Wealthy Results LLC. Here we dive into everything funding, entrepreneurship, and building generational wealth. This podcast was constructed for the builders, the opportunists, the risk takers, the long-term thinkers. No hype, no shortcuts, just the real. Real stories, real strategies, and real wealthy results. Welcome to your number one podcast for entrepreneurs who understand that real wealth isn't just what you make, it's what you leave behind. I'm your host, Leon, and today I want to thank everyone for joining us. We appreciate each and every listener. And today we're starting from the very beginning. Before wealthy results, before the businesses, before the wins, there was a journey full of risk, failure, lessons, and the kind of decisions that keep you up at night. Today, we're talking about the story behind the owner and operator of Wealthy Results, Mr. RC Holmes. Because before you can trust someone with your business, you should know their story. And man, I'm excited for this conversation today. Mr. Holmes, welcome to the show.
Let's get it. For all the hustlers out there, if you want to get game, you're in the right spot. If you're resilient, you're in the right spot. If you're a person that want to learn more about business, you're in the right spot. This is the place to be for all entrepreneur tips, all business tips. This is the right place for growth, personal growth, business growth. If you want to get better, you desire for better for your life, you're in the place to be. Wealthy Results and Mr. Leon Murray himself. Let's get it.
Okay, so let's get right down to business then. Let's start off with an easy question. Who are you?
Oh man, I'm a person that strives to be better. Not better than no one else, just better than myself, better than who I was yesterday. I'm a person who strives to help others, serve others. I'm a person who won't quit. I'm a person just just a go-getter, man. Someone who, if I write a goal down, I want to dominate. I got my 5D formula: discipline, decisions, develops, divine dominance. I'm a person, and I follow that. And what that means is you gotta have discipline. You gotta make the right decisions and make those decisions quick. And once you make the decisions quick, you start to develop. And once you start to develop and going through different experiences, you start to find your purpose. And once you find your purpose, you gotta dominate your purpose. And I'm a person who live by those 5Ds: discipline, develops, divine dominance. And if you look for discipline to get to your dominance, whatever that may look like, walking in your purpose, because I can tell you, once you find your purpose, it's a beautiful thing.
For sure. Thank you for that. And then, so we're going to get into our first segment of the day is the Army chapter of your life. So you are a veteran. You left home in 2013 to join the Army, and you are a Black Hawk mechanic. That wasn't a small responsibility. So shout out to you for that. You served 6 years, and then you separated in January 2019. How did that chapter shape who you are as a man and as an entrepreneur?
Or as an avionics technician working on Black Hawks, you got to get the mission done. There's no, oh, I can't figure it out. There's no, I need help. In certain situations, you're put out there on the flight line to perform. You gotta fix the aircraft. It's a mission essential. So you got to get the job done. And when certain things don't go your way, you got to find out how to respond. When the part breaks down, you don't have that part available. How can I come up with a backup plan just like that without calling for help, or just, I don't know, because it ain't coming. And transitioning to like the business world and the personal side, I mean, it's the same thing in business. There's no help. It's not coming as far as all the resources that's available to all of us. And that's one challenge. I'm going to challenge y'all throughout this whole, not just this episode, but our whole podcast, is to challenge you to be resourceful. And I would say that's probably the biggest thing that I got from my military experiences, being resourceful as an avionics technician, because that it transfers directly to entrepreneurship.
Okay. And then are there any habits from the military that still show up in your business and regular life today?
Absolutely. It's funny enough. Before we started this episode today, we was talking about daily habits and how I wake up super early in the morning. Even though I wake up earlier now than I did when I was in the military, but if I didn't have those experiences and that evidence of me being able to do it, I'm not sure if I would be still willing to wake up early now. But since that already started in the military and I got evidence, oh, I can do it. I can wake up early to get things done. Those habits, waking up early, I would say is a discipline that definitely carried over. And once again, kind of going back to being an avionics technician, you got to make decisions on the fly. You got to make decisions quick. And that's something else that carried over because we all worry some, but we can't let that worry conquer you. You got to make the decision to make progress, and yeah.
Okay, definitely understand that. It's definitely a key habit to kind of hold on to and to build on in life. So let's move on to our next segment. So after separating in 2019, you started an Amazon side hustle, but it said this wasn't like a small side hustle because you were able to scale it up to about 12, 15K per month. How did you even get into Amazon?
Like I mentioned earlier in this podcast, when we first started, I'm a lifelong learner. If you're not learning, you're dying, and I really mean that, because there's something for everyone to learn and get better at every day. And if you're not, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you don't plan to fail, I mean, if you don't, I always forget that saying.
If you fail to plan, then you plan
Yeah.
to fail.
There we go. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So I'm always looking for ways to develop and get better. And at this time, I'm already looking on separating from the army. I kind of had this idea starting in 2018. I knew I was done in the army. I knew I was getting out, and I'm like, what next? What's next? I kind of wanted to start something with my wife or whatever. She was a stay-at-home mom or whatever, and I know that's not something that she really desired to be. So I kind of wanted to start building our own family legacy. And I'm looking at different things on YouTube, the ways to start in business, and of course Amazon was big. Amazon was big at the time because Prime was just this hot thing on the block, and it's convenience, and everyone in business and just in life, they like convenience. So I'm like, how can I get a piece of that on Amazon? And it is a website where you can go on there and you can check all the products of what people are selling and what people where are all the trendy items and what's not selling and what not selling. So my wife and I, we spent weeks, months on there just looking through different inventory of what's selling and what's hot and what's not. And funny enough, we came across coffee mugs and baby clothes. We started off with coffee mugs, and they were doing very well at first. Funny enough, I have one right in front of me. It says "Stay woke." Yeah, and they were doing very well. Like he mentioned, we was able to scale it to do $12K to $15,000 a month. Unfortunately, though, Amazon changed their policy on us right when we ordered our biggest shipment of inventory because they were selling out so fast. They were selling out so fast. We figured to get the most.
To try to keep up with the demand.
Yeah, like you wanted to say something. We to maximize the value of our inventory and to keep up with demand, we wanted to order more in bulk. So we ordered like 2,000 coffee mugs, only to find out that they changed their policy. And as you can see on the coffee mug, it had like a little pipe so you could smoke out of. So they changed that or whatever, and we were no longer to sell those coffee mugs on Amazon. So at this
Man,
point in
that's
time,
crazy.
we got a garage full of coffee mugs and baby clothes. And baby clothes, the reason why we weren't able to sell them no more because they had to be branded. Before we could, there was a option to select you're selling that generic brand. They don't have to be a brand on there, and they changed that as well. You were no longer able to sell generic branding clothing on Amazon. So we had all these baby clothes, all these coffee mugs, and we weren't able to do nothing with them. We tried eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Etsy Shop, all these different options, but none of it worked. And growing up, I always say, how people always have aspirations, or they want to be in the NBA, they want to be real estate agents, they want to join the military, they have goals that they want to do, raw talents. I never felt like I ever had that, so I never had things. Oh, I want to do this, I want to be that. But that moment, that little experience of selling on Amazon, I figured out that entrepreneurship was for me. That is the adrenaline rush you get from being a business owner, even in the moments of failure, which we will talk about a little bit later. It's just those moments that I feel like I'm built for it. I'm made for it. And when you're back against the wall as an entrepreneur, that's what I want to do. We want to make money. Don't get me wrong, but those moments of when you're back against the wall, I felt like that was for me. And entrepreneurship, I love it, man.
Okay. Okay. So just back it up just a little bit. So, when you did get your first piece of entrepreneur money, what did that feel like?
I can do it. Simple as that. Like I said, after weeks, months, just looking on the website, going through different products of what we were going to sell, and this is working, that's not working. That's working for them. Will it work for us? Like, are you sure you want to do this? You know what I'm saying? Whenever you're making that big investment on yourself or your business, I mean, the realistic thing, it always cannot work out, but you got to look at it the optimistic way, glass full, halfway full, not empty, that it's going to work out. And so when we actually started seeing a little bit of revenue from it, it just confirmed that we can do it, that it's possible. That, yeah, and that's the initial moments really taught us.
Okay, so you would say that the Amazon business was the catalyst for the confidence of your entrepreneurial career.
Oh, 100%. Without stepping out and doing that, I'm not sure if I would have ever done it. I would like to say I would have, but it's kind of hard to say. Hindsight is always 2020, but since I've done it, I can say that moment definitely helped build us to, and I say us because my wife, she's still my business partner. She's always behind the scenes, doing all the admin and keeping me organized. And that first venture, it got us to where we are now and let us know that we can do it. Like I said earlier.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So now we're moving into the next segment, early Wealthy Results. So Wealthy Results was founded in 2021, but you weren't fully focused on it yet. What was the initial vision, and what kept you from going all the way in at that time?
The initial vision, um, as I mentioned, when we ordered all those coffee mugs and we got all this shipment in our garage, and it didn't work. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I already used all my 401k. I already, used all my savings. I'm broke at this time. So how do I get capital the right way? How do I leverage OPM, other people's money, and grow a business how the wealthy people do it? And that's why the name really Wealthy Results, because I started studying wealthy people and the decisions how they started business. And there are some people like Mark Cuban who speak against loaning and using other people's money. But if you look at his businesses and things like that, he even leveraged OPM in certain situations. And I started studying all the wealthy people, going back to the founders. Morgan, I can't remember his name, Morgan and Morgan, and Napoleon Hill, and all those old guys, and Jim Rohn, and that's how they did it. So I wanted to help other people that information. I'm not a gatekeeper, and like I mentioned earlier, I like to serve. I like to help people, and Wealthy Results is here to do just that: help others chase their dreams, accomplish their dreams the right way. You might not have savings, you might not have a lot of in your 401k, but you want to start a business. You don't know how to access capital the right way, or you might be in business and looking for capital and you don't know how. And Wealthy Results, that's what the mission behind Wealthy Results, to how to get capital the right way. And after I figured out, how can I help other people do it the right way?
Okay. Okay. Cool. So with that, then next you weren't all the way in. The next you decide to uh move in a different direction. So at this point, you tasted a little success and you're making a little money move and you're building belief. But as entrepreneurs, we all know business will humble you sometimes. So in October 2021, you launched a trucking company. Your first load, the driver wrecks the vehicle and leaves it on the side of the road, and you lose 50K. Walk us through that.
Oh man, that was
What did that do to you
crazy.
mentally?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. What it did to me mentally, the first thing is, even though at that time I really didn't, I would call them mentors, even though they're my homeboys, good friends. They're not somebody mentors that I actually paid, but they were mentors because they were actually in the business. They were doing it, and they were making revenue and they was profitable at it. But they was working hard, and I seen all the hours they was putting in driving and hustling and going state to state, picking up loads and doing this. And I'm like, nah, that ain't for me. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hire a driver who's gonna drive state to state, and I pay him, and I just take a little bit off the top to pay myself in the end. What I told my friend who was in it, he's like, RC, if you're not gonna drive, do not get in this business. I told him my exact words, man. I'm a boss. I ain't driving. I ain't driving no truck. Somebody gonna work for me and do it. And like, okay, we'll see how it go. Good luck. So funny enough, and I should have known there's so much warning signs leading up to me getting this first driver, because it's almost impossible to find a driver. Either they have DUIs, or they're not qualified, or you can't come to agreement on pay. It was so hard to find a driver, and I finally came up to this point where, okay, I was joining different Facebook groups, and the type of trucking industry I was in, just to be clear, was hot shot. So I know all y'all see the pickup trucks on the highway with the gooseneck trailers and the flatbed, or even some of them have car trailers where they're pulling cars. My idea was to get a flatbed so we can pull regular freight and cars on the pickup truck. But as soon as I joined the Hot Shot Trucking group on Facebook, I was in multiple, and I put in advertisements in there. I'm looking for a driver. I'm looking for a driver, and I finally found this guy in Ocala, Florida. Um, Everybody got the boondocks where you from, in the middle of nowhere. In this case, it's Ocala, Florida for me. And this guy, he didn't even have a car. He didn't have a car, so he didn't even have a way to come to the truck stop where my truck was parked to actually get on the road to go start picking up loads and stuff. So I had to go pick him up, not even pick him up, to go come to the truck before that even happened, for him to like renew his CDL and get his medicals part updated for the CDL. I had to go drive out there and take him to this little doctor's appointment and make sure his documents in order and things like that. That's a red flag. First of all, if you got to do all this for the person before you even start, maybe he ain't the right person for you. But I was so thirsty because the insurance like $2,100 a month, and you gotta have insurance before you get the truck. You gotta have insurance the before you get your documentations to start your trucking business, because you're not gonna get your documents to get on the road unless you have insurance. So I'm paying $2,000 a month way before I had a driver just to get my documents in order. So at this point in time, like, I'm thirsty for a driver. I need someone to get in the truck so we can start making some money. So I drove all the way to Ocala, which was it wasn't far, like an hour away. But when I say I saw every type of animal on the road going to pick him up from wild boars, raccoons, armadillos, coyotes, every type of animal. I'm not exaggerating at all to go pick him up. I digress though. So I picked him up. We came back to the truck or whatever. He put all the stuff in there, and I gave him the address for the load, which was in Miami. He went to Miami, pick up the load, and it was later in the evening. I don't remember which town. And I get a phone call. He probably called me RC. I wrecked your truck. What? What? You wrecked my truck? Okay, cool. All right, what we gonna do about it? And that was kind of that. No, not kind of. That was the very last time I heard from him. He wrecked the truck, and I told him, okay, is it drivable? And he said, yes, it's drivable. And he hung up the phone. He hung up the phone. I tried to call him back. I was blocked. I was
Wow.
blocked. So I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in contact with him. I didn't know where he's gonna do with my truck. I didn't know my truck was just gonna be stuck in Miami. I didn't know nothing. Lucky
Did you have
enough, like I
GPS on
said.
the truck?
Said it again.
You had GPS on the truck?
No, no GPS. That's another mistake. I learned experience that I learned from that. And for all y'all that's looking to get in the truck and any transportation business, if you're not driving it, car rentals, if you're not planning on driving it, and you leasing something, your equipment out to someone else or someone else using your stuff, put GPS on it. I didn't have it, so like I said, I had no clue where my truck was at. But funny enough, the next morning I went to the parking lot, the trucking lot, where my truck was parked at, where we picked it up from, and he was able to get it back there. And I guess somebody picked him up and took him back home. But before I even hired him as a driver, he swear he had nobody to bring him to Orlando or whatever to drive the truck. He had nobody to take him to these appointments to get his medical stuff updated and all this stuff, right? So like, but as soon as he wrecked my truck, he had somebody to drive over an hour to come pick him up.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and I never heard from the guy again. Other people with the experience in the industry, they told me like, oh, I could have seek law enforcement, um, press charges, seek damage recovery and things like that. But I'm not the type to go holler at law enforcement and stuff like that. So I immediately, okay, that happened. What's next? I'm still paying this $2,100 in insurance. So I need to. This ain't for me. I see how hard it was for me, and that's something else. Like when you go through different experiences and you trying to find out what's for you, what I've come, well, at least in everybody's case, what comes easy, that's what you're supposed to do. If it's so hard and you're struggling to do it and you're just going out of your way to make things happen, maybe it ain't for you to do.
Right.
And that's kind of what I learned from that. And so in that moment after the truck was wrecked and I see how hard it was for me to do it, I'm like, oh, okay. It was very clear, like, this ain't for me. So I wanted to sell my truck immediately, get insurance off of it, just to try to recoup some of my money. And the only good thing about that, the truck, the amount of money I put down in the truck when I sold it, I was able to get some of it back, even though the truck had damages. CarMax kind of showed love on the price they gave me for the truck, and all the money I lost and stuff like that, the $50,000 I lost with the trucking business, and to go pick up this load. The load was worth $250, man. $250 caused me all this trouble, but the learning experience is hindsight. It was worth it, and I mean, it kind of made me to who I am today. Even though I made a lot of more mistakes along the way, but certain mistakes like that I won't make again. Don't force things. Don't force it.
For sure. And then, so in business, as we all know, that bad things are bound to happen. So, what should entrepreneurs truly understand about risk before they jump into the business?
Ooh, that's a good one. What should they understand about risk before jumping into the business?
Just this,
Yeah,
in
I'm,
the
I'm
direction of bad things are bound to always happen.
yeah. I mean, That's it right there. No matter how calculated you think you are, no matter how much you think you got to figure it out, how many times you looked over your business plan and had somebody else look over your business plan, it's not gonna go as you design it to go. Those opportunities to go bad, they will happen. You just got to know how to be resilient. You got to know how to recover fast. You got to be able to think on your feet and expect those things to happen. Take notes, man. Y'all take y'all notes. Write these little sayings down, cause there's gonna be some things that I use and I say to myself to help me out, and I got them from other people. I got another saying. It's okay to be a copycat if you copying the right cat. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm the right cat to copy. But like I was saying though, you can make the problem you can make the problem the journey, or you can understand the problem is part of the journey. And once you make the problem the journey, you're focused on the problem. The problem becomes bigger than the journey. It becomes an obstacle that you can't complete, a wall that you just keep bouncing in and you just bouncing back off of because you're focused on the problem. But when you own the journey and you understand that this is part of it, this problem is part of it, it makes it easy to jump over it, spin off of it, push it out the way. It's gonna happen. Don't be scared to jump. Don't let your mother, your uncle, your brother, someone who's never been in entrepreneurship, someone who's never been in business before, tell you can't do it. Oh, that ain't gonna work because it didn't work for Jimmy. It ain't gonna work because you never did it. Don't listen to them. Do it. The best learning experience is experience. So the only way to do it is to do it. Like Nike, just do it.
Okay,
See, I'm telling y'all, man. I'll be dropping some bars, man.
Okay. I got my pen and paper over here too, man. I like that one you said earlier. But so moving right along. So by 2022, you're full time working as a facility engineer, a critical facilities engineer. But you're planning your exit. That's pressure. What does it feel like building a dream while still clocking in? Where were you mentally?
Oh man, I was at a good place mentally. Even though because my job, I can't say nothing bad about it. I had a very chill job. I worked night shift, so I was able to work harder on myself than my job when I was there. If it was the other way around, where I had a job where I had to work hard and I was obligated to do a full list of things, and I wasn't able to work on my dreams and excuse me, if I wasn't able to do certain things that's gonna better my future, I would go crazy. But since I was blessed enough to be in a job that I was reading, I was taking advantage of my free time, and that's something you guys should do too. If you're working and you're on a job and you're planning your exit, your job is your first investment partner. That's gonna be your first private investor. So use that time, whether your 30-minute lunch break, go out there, read your notes, read a podcast on the way listen to a podcast on the way to the job. Work harder on yourself than you do your job. So while I was working on this job, I was locked in, honestly, because in 2022, I understood that I had another baby on the way in 2023, which we'll talk about here in a second. So it's like there's no time to play. Like I gotta take all this time to work on myself because I know when I do exit, I gotta make sure I'm ready.
So was there like a certain checkpoint that you needed to hit before you felt comfortable leaving?
No, there was just a time I would say there was no like a dollar amount or I would have saved enough. There was just a time I knew. Well, we kind of fast forward a little bit. Like I said, we brought up 2022 while I was still working as a critical facility engineer. In 2023 January, I had my second daughter, or whatever. But even throughout this whole time, I'm planning my exit. I'm planning my exit, and it didn't take long The car wouldn't pull out of the garage. The car wouldn't pull out the driveway. So not unfortunately, but surprisingly, my wife's pregnant again with number 3. And at that point, I said, "Oh yeah, it's definitely time to go. This job is not gonna provide the life I want to live already. Not that I'm struggling because I was making good money. I was making like $85,000 a year, close to $40 an hour, which is good money. The way price is going up now, that ain't nothing, but but it's more than to be comfortable. Put it that way. But I got big dreams. I got desires. Like I said, I want to help people. I can't do that with that amount of money, and with all these kids that I'm having at this time. Like I say, it's gonna be 3. I can't provide them the life, and I don't want to spoil my kids. We'll talk about that in another episode. I don't want to spoil them. I don't want to give them everything, but I do want to have them. I want to be able to provide the resources for them. That job is not going to help me do that. That job is not going to give them something, to have something in place for them if something was to happen to me. So when I understood my 3rd child was on the way, I was like, when he's born, I'm done. So there wasn't like a dollar amount that I was waiting for before I left or something like that. It was just, when my son is born, I'm out of here.
Okay. All right. So, like you said, in 2023, your second daughter was born, and just only a few months later, you found out you're going to be dad of number 3. That shifted your mindset and your overall plans. And in that moment, you knew that you couldn't play small anymore. So, for the fathers listening right now, how does family change the way you move, and how does it fuel you?
My oldest she's about to be 8 this year, and I look at her. I look at all my kids when they're together. I just stare at them sometimes. They don't realize I'm just staring at them like, whoa, I'm really a daddy. Like, these little souls, they depend on me, which is beyond crazy to me. Especially where I come from and what I've been through in my earlier in life, and just have other people depending on me is wild, and I don't take that for granted. I don't take it lightly. And there's a lot of kids out here that's, unfortunately, they got bad parents or parents that don't deserve to be parents. And it's an honor. It's a blessing. I don't want to take that for granted. Not none of it. So being a father that wants to provide, a father that wants to be there for their kids, as I mentioned, the job's not going to do it. Either you working really hard, too many hours to make a lot of money for your family, you're never there. So I want to be present. I want to provide the resources for them. And for me to do that, I understand that entrepreneurship is a vehicle that I can use to do just that. And I got to give it my all. I got to go all in. So at this time, like you mentioned, I was still working, but I was all in. I didn't care about that job at all. I was all in on myself, my goals, anything that could make me better. I was all in because I knew my exit was sooner than later.
Okay, so the original plan was May 2024, when your son was born. That's when you were going to quit and just leave your job and, entrepreneur, here I come. But as we know, as entrepreneurs, things don't always go as planned. So in January 2024, you were fired almost 6 months ahead of schedule. So what was going through your head that day? Looking back, was that the push that you actually needed?
Absolutely, man. All right, since we're here, I'm going to tell the story how I got fired. Because like I mentioned, work harder on yourself than you do your job. And I was doing just that. I was getting prepared to teach my very first workshop for Wealthy Results. It's gonna be at the Small Business Expo in Orlando, and it's gonna be on business funding, how to grow your business, how to get capital to make your business better. And I was working so hard on this workshop, and I had my tripod set up there in the shop at work. And I was recording myself, and unfortunately, we had an alarm come off on one of the generators. And I'm not gonna tell you too much about the environment, but and I kind of just not pushed it to the side, but I just assumed that it was something else, and it wasn't. And at that point, unfortunately, I got fired. which is okay. But that was the weekend, so I didn't really know. It happened the next day when everyone came in, and I was off. But I texted my manager, hey, it was my fault, everything. Da, 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 da. I took full accountability for it. But in my gut, even over the whole weekend, I didn't tell my wife about it. I didn't mention it to nobody. But in my gut, I already knew that was it. Cause I don't think my manager, I don't think he responded after I took accountability for the mistake and everything like that. And it was two of us on shift. I didn't put the blame on him. On the other guy, I accepted it. But in that moment, I knew when my manager didn't respond, I knew that I was fired. So when I went there Monday, I already had all my company equipment with me, which I never carried. I took it with me because I knew they was gonna ask me to turn it in, and they didn't tell me because they got to make sure you show up because they need all this stuff. They need the badge, they need your company cell phone, so they don't want to tell you beforehand because they don't want you to go missing with that stuff. So I made sure I took everything there, and he met me at the gate. Say, unfortunately, they're gonna let you go. Man, I said, God is good. Those are my exact words. God is good. And I went into the shop and I said to gather all my little belongings from my little cubicle, and all the other guys were, oh, RC, man, I'm so sorry. It's crazy. That's crazy. None of us knew nothing about us. Man, don't worry about me. I'm more worried about y'all. Don't worry about me. I'm good. I was so happy. Other than my kids being born, that probably the happiest day of my life because I knew it was game time. Even in the moment where I got fired, I lost my major source of income. There was nothing stable outside of that. But I was so happy because I knew I was walking into my purpose. I knew I was getting rid of the distraction. And that's what everyone that aspire to be entrepreneurs, you aspire to be your own boss, aspire to be a business owner, and you work your 9 to 5. At the end of the day, like I said, it is going to be your first investment partner, but it's a distraction. It's taking up all your time. It's taking you giving it other responsibilities, and you're probably frustrated because you know deep down this ain't what I want to do. I want to do something better and greater, but I'm stuck here, and you're frustrated on the job. And so at that moment when I was let go, I just knew, oh man, it's my season. I'm about to walk into what I want to do. All these nights at work, I'm walking around the facility reading books, taking notes, and listening to different podcasts. And it was time to apply all that knowledge and to get it.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So, what would you say to someone when life forces them to leap before they're ready?
Accept it. Accept it quickly. Like I mentioned in the beginning, my 5D formula, discipline, decisions. The second D is decisions. You got to make the decision quick and you got to make it fast. Do not let one incident in life stop you. Don't cry over it too long, because at that point you're making the problem the journey instead of making the understanding that the problem is part of the journey. So if something happens, it's unfortunate, but who cares? Nobody cares. But once you get through it and once you fight through it and you can tell your victory story at the end of it, then be like, oh man, that's cool that he actually was able to did that. He didn't let that stop him. I know business owners that have to show up when their mothers died. Like, you gotta show up. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. They only care about what you do about it. So what you gonna do about it?
Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. And
What
then
you gonna
so
do about it, man?
all right, so moving right along into the next segment. So it's game time. You're fired. It's 2024. All right. So June 2024, you decided to start two different businesses, a pool business and then a vending machine business. Let's start with the pool cleaning business. Why pools?
Being here in Florida, in general, I'm in the Central Florida area. Just in case if y'all ever in the area, feel free to reach out to me. We can have lunch and talk business or something. But here in the Central Florida area, pools everywhere, every house. Even, you know what I'm saying, you do commercial pools if you license your business correctly. And I just thought that of course there was a big market for it. And after different business ventures, the Amazon and the trucking thing didn't work. Those were complete startups. So at that point, I was looking in ways to get into something that already had a proven concept, something that was already going, something that was already making, that already had cash flow. So it was either I had a couple different options: self storage, buy a self storage facility unit, um, or buy an existing business. The pool route that I purchased, it was already an existing business. It came with an employee who understood the route, who's already cleaning these same pools for over 2 years. But the owner who I bought the route from, he really wasn't. He was just a regular. He was self-employed, and there's different type of entrepreneurs and business owners. You have self-employed, then you have people who just want to be their own boss. Then you have business owners. He was just self-employed. He was working day to day. He wasn't looking to grow the business. And when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, that's an opportunity for me to grow it. But I was just from the outside looking in. When I got in, there was opportunity to grow it by putting out a lot of street signs, pool cleaning, with your phone number, as simple as that, and one box. Kind of getting into it a little too deep now, but one box of pool signs would cost like $150, and it came with like 200 signs. And off that 200 signs, I could get 50 new clients that was paying $150 a month. I mean, you could do the math. I mean, so the return on that, it was massive. But unfortunately, with the pool thing, like I said, you just know it when you're operating outside your purpose, and certain things, if you're doing anything, once you find your purpose, it's impossible. I'm lucky enough. I actually posted it not too long ago. Once you find your purpose, it's a beautiful thing. And anything you're doing that you know you're not operating your purpose, you don't care about the money. You don't care about anything besides this is a distraction from me and my purpose. And that's what the pool cleaning business ended up being. And we did that about 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years with the pool business. And it was successful, it was profitable, but it wasn't my purpose. So we had to let it go.
Okay. So one of the things that you said that kind of hindered you in the first couple of businesses was because they were complete startups, and you were able to scale this one up a little bit. And then after a year and a half, you sold it in December 2025. What made it sell? And what challenges came up during that process?
The challenges, just finding a buyer. I would say the only challenge was I wanted to get out of it faster than it was. I was impatient. Honestly, I didn't give it enough time, or I wasn't willing to give it the time that I needed to find a buyer. Lucky enough, I found a buyer at the right time. But I was pushing out because, like I said, when you operating outside your purpose, I didn't care. I was ready to let it go. I was just ready to let it go today. I don't even care if it dropped. Said I don't get paid for it. That's how much I was done with it. And as I mentioned earlier, when we first acquired the business, it came with his own employee, but he ended up lying and not telling the truth on certain things, and so I ended up letting him go. Unfortunately, because he had a young child at the time, and I didn't want to do it, but at the time he was hindering my business, my name, and the income of my business. So I ended up letting him go with the thought process, so I'm just gonna hire somebody else to replace him. Once again, going back to the trucking thing, it was very hard, and a lot of people deal with this in business. It's very hard to find good people to work with for you, especially when you're doing labor-intensive jobs. And here in Florida, in the heat, you out there and you driving around all day to pool. It's hard to find somebody, first of all, that's going to show up to every pool and do a good job. It's so hot outside. And he was a good worker, but when he had his child, different obligations came, and he wasn't able to do it no more. But he didn't want to say that because he needed the money to take care of his child, which is understandable. So I had to let him go. But I would say the only challenge that came from selling was me wanting to sell quicker than I was able to find a buyer, because after I let the employee go, I was forced to clean the pools myself. And that, like I told y'all earlier, with the trucking thing, I'm a boss. I ain't want nobody. I ain't about that. So out here in the Florida heat, nah, that was terrible, man.
Oh, okay. Understandable, understandable. So let's switch gears a little bit. So also in June 2024, you started a vending machine business with your wife because everybody in the Holmes family eats. So talk us through that decision. What made vending attractive?
Once again, and this is what I challenge y'all to look into ways that you can get into a concept that's already proven, whether that's acquiring a business. I'm big on that, and that could be most of my portfolio. The more I grow and develop, a lot of my portfolio will be acquiring other business and cash flowing assets. So with the vending machine business, there was already this proven concept. The company's called Naturals to Go. You can look them up. Hit me up if you want information about it. But Naturals to Go, they already had the proven concept. They train you. They bring you to a certain location. They train you on the machines. They help you locate the machines. They have all this data and all this proven track record on it. They have all this proven track record that, like, okay, this is good enough. Even though it's a startup, the model is already there. So, and I'm always, like I mentioned again, I'm always seeking better ways to be better. I'm a full-time entrepreneur at this time, and I was looking to buy a self-storage facility, and the guy told me, "Hey, what about vending machines?" So I watched the webinar, sent the webinar to my wife. She liked it, and I kind of wanted to do it for her anyway. And that's how we got in the vending machine. And we're going to dive deep into that on another episode. I'm going to give y'all all the game, all the juice. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe to our channel, and y'all get all the game, all the juice about the vending machines in another episode.
Definitely, for sure, for sure. So okay, so now you have the vending machine business, and you have a little momentum. Now you have time to fully focus on wealthy results because all roads led there. So what problem does wealthy result truly resolve? Excuse me, let me say it again. What problem does wealthy results truly resolve? And what do most business owners misunderstand about funding?
So we help bridge the gap between business owners like yourselves. Because if you're watching this, you're a business owner, even if you don't have a business yet. Speaking into existence, you are a business owner. So we help business owners like yourself get access to capital to start, grow, and scale your business. Something that a lot of people misunderstood about funding is the criteria. Don't assume that you automatically qualify for nothing is given to you. One of these sayings, write it down. You don't get what you want, you get what you deserve. And you have to deserve it. Your business have to be structured the right way. Your credit have to be structured the right way. There are things that these banks and lenders look for in businesses that trends towards approvals. And don't assume just because you've been in business 2 years that you're going to get qualified. Don't assume because you got good credit that you can qualify. It all works in a full circle. Like and subscribe. We gonna give all the juice away, all the game away about business funding in another episode. But it all has to work out before it to work properly.
Okay. And then exactly who should be reaching out to wealthy results?
If you're a hustler, come reach out to us, man. We like to talk to you, but our ideal person we want to talk to, if you're already in business for 2 years, you already operating, you already got a proof of concept, you already laid the foundation of, you already see what's possible, and you're looking for capital to open up your second location. You want to expand your fleet of vehicles. You want to hire more employees. You can't really afford payroll. You got more you got more bills than you have income at the moment, we can help you out with those things. We can help you out opening a second location, like I mentioned. Those That's who I want to talk to, entrepreneurs that's hungry, that's thirsty, that just want to a better quality of life, and they need wealthy results to make their results wealthy.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So, a little closure before we go. So you've built, failed, lost 50K, rebuilt, sold a company, became a father of three with another one on the way. And when all that's said and done, what does building a legacy mean to you?
Oh man, building the legacy means I'm a country boy, so I plan on having some acres, at least 10 acres. A lot of toys. I'm like being an entrepreneur. I like the adrenaline rush, so I want some 4 wheelers, dirt bikes. You know what I'm saying? At this time, years down the road, I'm gonna be 60 on dirt bikes out there with my grandkids, and and I get to sit on the porch and watch them play and have fun, and they're able to adapt the tools and the learning and everything that I learned, because it's not about the businesses and the money or whatever. I want them to adopt the habits and and the disciplines that it take to get those things, and understand the systems that I put in place. We're gonna talk about this as well. The life insurance, all these systems, different systems that the wealthy people use, and it's in their family for generations and generations. And when I can look back and see that my grandkids are using these things, they understand these things. It's not foreign to them at 13, 14, and they know of them. I didn't start hearing about some of these things until late 20s, mid 20s. And that's what a legacy looks like for me. And the impact in the community, after I'm long gone away from here, and someone's might see my daughter in, I don't know, Houston, or wherever she's at, or any of my kids, like, oh, you just don't know what your daddy did for me. What he came and speak to us one day, and that changed my life. Don't worry about your lunch today. It's on me. Something like that. Something where people are still using my resources, the things I teach, the things I talk about, long after I'm gone. That is what my legacy will be. Yeah, and it starts now.
Okay, that's powerful, and I love it. I love it. This is exactly why we started the podcast, for the real stories, the real risk, and the real growth. But before we completely close out, I'm gonna hit you with a couple rapid fire questions, just quick and short. But if you want to elaborate, you can. So, first rapid fire question: one lesson you learned the hard way that still sticks with you today.
I think we hit on a little bit earlier. No matter how hard you prepare, no matter how much you go over the business plan, it still ain't gonna work how you think it's gonna work. And that's what all those years while I was still working as a critical percent engineer, and like I told y'all, I was planning, I was working so hard on my exit. Even when I exited, it didn't work out like I thought it was, because the biggest learning experience is experience. You got to get out there and do it. The only way to do it is to do it.
All right, and then what's one habit that separates entrepreneurs from employees?
Take action. You gotta take action. You cannot get stuck on the idea. An idea is just an idea. The graveyard is filled with great ideas right now that could change the world for the better. You gotta make the decision. You gotta be an action taker. If you're not, you're gonna get left behind.
Okay,
Sure.
and then our last question of the day: in the future, you kind of touched on this, but when your children describe your impact, what would that sound like?
Oh man, my daddy the GOAT, man. I came and see him on stages, and I saw the impact that he had. I see how people talk to him. I see how his charities, his nonprofits, how big that is in the community, the impact that he had on in kids, the schools that he helped, and not even just here in the States, over abroad in Africa and all these other countries that don't have nothing, literally nothing. And my dad, he was able to set a foundation to help others in need. That's what my kids were saying, and of course he was there for us too. Cause I'm gonna be there for my kids. But yeah, I think that's what I would want them to say, that they saw how I had a heart to serve others and take care of the community.
Okay, great. Okay, so Mr. Holmes, we're gonna wrap it up with that. I want to thank you for your time, and just to remind everybody, employment pays you for your time, but ownership pays you for your decision. Next week, we're diving deeper into the mindset shift from employee to entrepreneur, because that transition changes everything. I'm Leon. I'm your host, and I'm out. Thank you, RC.
Like and subscribe. The button below. Bing.
See y'all next week.
Let's get it.
Thanks for listening to Building a Legacy podcast. If you got value from today's episode, leave a review. And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Share this video with someone who's serious about building their future. And if you're a business owner looking for funding, growth, or new opportunities, you can connect with Wealthy Results LLC using the link in the description. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and keep creating wealthy results.